like the music.
oh.
Welcome to season 3, episode 10 of Lawfully Chaotic, the greatest show on Earth, ish.
Does Earth still exist?
That's a good
Are
question.
we merely a parody of the three-body problem?
Ooh, I watched that. It was really good.
Fucking A, right? Way better than actually, for the first time, it's even better than the book series.
I never read the book, I'm ashamed to admit, but I binged the shit out of that show.
Right? The book series was almost like flagellation,
Flatulation?
Not flatulation. Flagellation. Self-destruction, because the book is like it brings you to this point up here, and then the rest of the book is like, okay, you're depressed. Here, I'm going to beat you up some more. You're depressed more. I'll beat you up some more. It's like this steady downward decline of disappointment and flagellation.
Flagellation. That had to be a record of us jumping into a topic like that without even.
Was that a topic, or was that just?
No, it was an aside.
It's just two old men kind of.
All right, hold on. Wait, hold on.
Oxygen.
All right, let's rewind and start over. Hey, welcome to Lawfully Chaotic, season 3, episode 10.
Is the world real, or are we in the midst of a three-body problem?
Thank you guys for joining. Those of you who are joining us in chat here and on Instagram, Twitch and Instagram, and those who are watching VOD after the fact. 3 Miles, thank you for joining. Dragon Painter, thank you for joining. Colin, thank you for joining. Andy, you got to wake up early in the morning to beat 3 Miles into chat. Yeah, a lot of times I don't even make that happen. So, anyway, we are going to put on hold. Too many rings. We're going to put on hold tonight our Daggerheart playthrough till next week. We're still going to do it. Because no, because Jason has a topic that he wants to talk about tonight, and I want to hear what it is.
I feel a little bit like my buddy Stu. Been stewing.
Okay, all right. Well, then I really want to hear about it. I have no idea what it is, so this will be a surprise for all. Anyway, announcements. Jason, do you have any announcements?
The Daggerheart table is available on rpgclub.net.
Cool.
That table is Saturdays at 7 o'clock. It's mostly geared for my West Coast Central audience, because obviously, but it is a Saturday, so
Yep.
Saturday night, play a little bit of Daggerheart.
You've played one session of Daggerheart, correct?
I've played 2 sessions now.
2 sessions. How's it so far?
We did a 0 session. We did a 0 session character creation, and then we did session 1. So it was fun. We had a good time. Once again, it's a matter of getting used to different ways of playing a game. Thematically, the whole world is brand new, so it's kind of fun. You get to build a world while playing the game, so there's some nuances to it that I really like.
Yeah,
there's a couple things that are a little bit peevish, but
they haven't really built a world yet, have they?
No, in fact, I think they've purposely built it in a way that you don't have to worry about the world as much. That Dragon Painter, he is a
first of all it's Dino S'mores, and there's nothing casual about it.
Yeah, he only takes out the straw because it gets in the way of his camera.
Goes up.
Otherwise, he like 2 hands sucks that puppy down.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What else do I got going on? I got a new Wednesday table. I finally focused on a theme for my new Wednesday table. And my Sunday table is going to reboot this summer because they're going to be coming off a 2.5-year long campaign in the summer. And they wanted me to write another campaign. So I'm going back to the Forgotten Realms, but I am saying goodbye. I'm using Thieves' Honor as a way of saying that the Dale's Reckoning, the 1400s of Faerun are over, and that officially I'm kind of agreeing with everyone that Thieves' Honor felt like 1499, like the closing out of Dale's Reckoning. So, and I feel like the Thayans are going to be the new 100-year theme for the new calendar of Faerun. So I'm gonna build a new calendar where it's the year 1500 in Faerun, and I've got a lot of it written, but I'm gonna start a campaign on Wednesdays from 3 to 6 that focus exclusively on the entire lands of Faerun. But a lot of the lore pre-Dale's Reckoning is going to become pure canon. And now it's going to be, I'm going to call it 1500 Lich's Reckoning. So it's going to be 1500 LR. And it's going to be all about the Thayans and how they finally come west and how they're finally implementing their plot and plan to kind of take over all of Faerun. And it's all about how the party has to figure out how to get all the animosity of the different kingdoms and powers within Greater Faerun to recognize this threat, and what they have to do and what they have to sacrifice and the really bad things they have to do in order to, solve this particular problem. So, oh yeah, no doubt, Dragon Painter, BBEG minis.
Yeah, that sounds. I love any campaign where the antagonist is a legion of undead. So,
my Marquette Tides Rising one is all about that. It's basically the story of the Second Remnant. It's the story of Vecna's rise after his fall. It's all about how the cult is trying to bring Vecna back, and they kind of do, but yet they create a new problem for the world. And this one takes place in Exandria. So I love undead horror theme. Undead horror theme.
I do too. It's kind of like you can't go wrong with undead as bad guys. There's no way really you could put any social twist on that. It's like Nazi movies, right? Nazis make the perfect bad guy. They're always bad guys.
Well, yeah, and I would say the undead are the perfect bad guys because they're not real. They're not real people, right?
They used to always be bad guys.
Well, yeah. Depends on what time we live in, right? But no, I always like to think of that joke that Rick and Morty make, that Star Wars is a dehumanized version of that. They kill millions of people in Star Wars, but you cut open one tauntaun and the world just goes up in flames. It's the same adage of, oh, you killed a dog, you all suck. Right. Yeah, but 12 million people died in that city that blew up.
Or the planet they exploded.
Yeah, the planet exploded. No, we're peaceful people on Alderaan. You can't.
Tauntaun rights.
Right?
It's the World Tauntaun Federation. It's a good point.
Anyway,
that's awesome.
My goal with my new Wednesday table is to do what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Supply more anti-hero themes and get people to really challenge the morality of the hero and have some fun in a safe way of being a very different type of character. Yeah. But still seeking the source and still trying to, solve the problem. But you don't have to be goody two shoes to solve the problem. If you wipe out in a small village to get something you need to solve the problem, it happens, right?
Along those exact lines, I just rewatched Peacemaker last week. And first of all, if you haven't seen Peacemaker, I'm a Marvel guy. I think 99.9% of all DC TV and movies are just, garbage filler.
Except for their bad guys. Their bad guys are amazing.
Peacemaker was fucking phenomenal. Peacemaker would be at the top of my Marvel list. So if you haven't watched it, watch it again. But I love his mentality. He's like, I made a vow to uphold peace no matter how many men, women, and children.
But that's such the anti-hero character. And then exactly. Sienna is just the collateral background story. That's Xander. Xander, you're so dead on. Xander plays a French tabaxi in my Friday night Stormwatch game.
A French pussycat? This is exciting. I would love to hear that sometime.
And I love watching him start his voice because it's a good way to remind yourself what voice you're in. So every time his character talks, he starts with Mon Ami, so that he can remind himself of the.
Oh my God! Okay, Xander, that is a fantastic, because I do a lot of accents. That's kind of my D&D is my, as a GM, that is my stage to like do all my accents.
Yeah,
and it is crazy how easy it is to forget like which NPC has what accent. That's fantastic. I really.
But if you're watching 13th Warrior, you could do the really bad American version of a Viking, where it's all drama and accent in the backdrop of your conversation. The gods are coming to kill you, and you got to, because like I was watching 13th Warrior, and then they all end up being Scottish or English.
Right. Well, Scottish I could do without even thinking about it. That's the easiest one. But it's always someone that's in a really pissed off fucking attitude. It's always perfect for dwarves. That's right. All dwarves are Scottish because they're always pissed off all the time. End of rant.
End of rant. What do you got going on, Bri? How's your Daggerheart artwork? Looked amazing. I've seen it. I watched the one shot, obviously. It looked great on the one shot for the Critical Role Daggerheart one shot. Looked awesome. What are you working on now?
I got a couple of board games that I'm working on for Darrington Press.
Nice.
That's all I can say about that. That's all I can say about that. Or that's all I got to say about that. I need that as a
all I got to say about that. Yeah.
Those will probably be. Those are probably like a year out already.
Yeah.
But working on those, which is awesome. Otherwise, I'm just. I don't know. I'm feeling. It's funny as a creative. It's hard to say this without sounding like an asshole prima donna. So I'll just say it.
Well, you're over the age of 40. It's by default.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
So it's all good.
It's when you're a creative, it's hard sometimes when the juices aren't flowing and the inspiration is there. It's going through the motions.
It's painful.
It is painful.
It's almost painful. Yeah.
And that's one of the problems with the advertising industry is it's like, okay, we want our best work out of everybody and you got to do it now and we need it in a day and yada, yada. You mix all that shit together and that's why the advertising industry just blows.
Yeah.
But that's for another show and probably another podcast. but with my game stuff, same thing. I go through, I stopped painting not stopped, but I just wasn't painting.
All right, I want to see that. I want to see that Dwarven Smithy. Let's see it.
He's right here, man.
I mean, look at the orange on that blade, dude. The hot glow of it.
My brand new awesome camera is not. Oh, I turned the autofocus off. Sorry.
Well, if you turn the autofocus off, there's no focusing automatically.
But yeah, I'm really proud of that. This was all from watching El Miniaturista and Jose Da Vinci and a couple of others on Instagram. I mean, literally, I just ordered a whole mess of fluorescent inks and transparent inks from Green Stuff World to work on my OSL, which is object source lighting, on a bunch of stuff. I've started this print. And this, there we go. There's the focus. And this is very much work in progress. But I've started that. And I'm just amazed at how people get such amazing
the layers of likeness.
Glow from opaque paint. It is. It's freaking awesome, but it's hard to master, So anyway, the whole point is I'm in a good place. I feel like I'm getting back into the painting. I feel like the creativity is starting to build again, which is a good thing. It's a nice feeling to have. So beyond that, I got a couple tables restarting in the next week or so. But that's about it.
So
good show.
It's a segue. Yeah, I know, right? As a segue on the creativity thing, right?
Yeah.
So for the last 3 weeks, I've been watching.
Is it getting into your topic that you want to discuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit me.
So 3 weeks ago, I started seeing things show up in my feed in different places. And I follow the standard procedure of if you see it more than one time, it's probably worth researching and seeing if the articles and all the expectations of, what I'm reading kind of all match up. And then, they announced the whole Lego D&D thing, which is part of this concern that I have. This is going to sound a little old manish, so I do apologize for that. I don't intend it to sound that way.
Wait.
But watching it watching it unfold was painful because none of the other influencers and creators were talking about it.
The Lego thing specifically?
Well, it's a combination of three things that occurred. So the first thing that happened was when they announced that Hasbro had lost $1 billion and had to lay off all those people. So they laid off 10,000 people throughout the entire company, including 1,100 people that they laid off via all the WotC subsidiary. And none of the influencers really talked about that because I think it was their way of saying, see, we told you so. You go work for an evil empire, you get fucked. So too bad. It doesn't matter that you have to feed your families. It doesn't matter that you're just trying to earn a paycheck and do a job, right? No one was
I think
really...
I think that's misplaced animosity, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the influencer community just saw that as an opportunity that third-party content was going to be more protected because there's going to be less people creating WotC content, and therefore why talk about it? Well, then two things happened this year. One, they announced the 50th anniversary for the year, and they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. Two, about a week and a half ago, they announced a $1 billion project that Hasbro and WotC are going to spend $1 billion to combine their gaming ecosystems. And I'm sitting there. Yeah, I'm sitting there reading this article, and I'm like, okay.
Hold on, back up.
Correct.
What ecosystems are they combining?
They're combining the TTRPG and digital ecosystems for third-party like applications, software design. They want to get into the AAA game business.
What digital ecosystem?
They don't have one. That's why they're spending $1 billion to build it.
Okay. So they are finally. Are they finally starting to curate the community that we've been talking about for a year and a half now?
I really don't give a shit about that. It's the hypocrisy. Woe is me. We lost $1 billion. Lay everybody, lay everybody off. And actually, their digital Monopoly game on mobile apps makes a shit ton of money. A shit ton of money. Shit ton.
Wait. Okay, so you're saying, and forgive me for my weak brain.
Mm-hmm.
So all of their digital
but you're focusing on the wrong
or digital.
Yeah, but you're focusing on the wrong point. I don't give a shit about that.
I know, but I just want to understand.
Right, but that leads into the conundrum of the hypocrisy.
I get it, but I want to understand.
Yeah, see, your brain's trying to latch onto something that's irrelevant. That's why you can't get there.
But it's not irrelevant. It's not irrelevant because if it's a colossally stupid idea, that just makes it twice as worse.
It's verbal diarrhea. It doesn't mean anything. There's a bunch of people that sat.
That's what I'm getting at. It's pointless.
It's buzzwords.
Okay.
But the hypocrisy of laying off all those people, boo-hoo, we didn't make $1 billion. But yet the first thing you announce in 2024 is that you're going to spend $1 billion.
It's
the height of corporate shillism, right? And I'm thinking to myself, what could make it worse? And you know what made it worse for me is the awful video that they put out on D&D Beyond about the Lego game. And it's so painful to watch these high-end influencers, some of who I like, And the whole video now feels like a shill, like this grift that, we're going to continue to make people suffer for the sake of the profit, no matter what happens, and it's, yeah. How many people in the genre of the gaming community can actually go out and buy a 80, 120, $200 Lego set,
Well,
and
okay, that is just the cost of Lego. Okay, I will say when I first heard that WotC was branching out into all this, far orbital merchandising. I mean, it's a natural progression, but the first thing that went through my head was fucking Spaceballs, right? Spaceballs, the toilet paper,
Right.
And my initial reaction was negative. Like, okay, this is a money grab. Why don't you get your house in order before you start giving everybody another to spend
where
money?
You lose any sympathy from me as a corporate entity is that you're doing that very kind of evil empire shit,
Yeah.
You don't have any money to spend in 2024, so you lay off a bunch of families and treat people like shit. And then the very first thing you announce in 2024 is, now that we have $1 billion again, now we can go back to business as usual, which is creating more garbage. They're just creating more garbage. They're not like reinventing anything. They're not.
Well, and that's why, that is why my head initially went to a negative space. I mean, hey, I love Legos. Everybody loves Legos. If you don't love Legos, there's something psychological.
I love Legos because you can go to any garage sale in the country and buy a bunch of them for next to nothing.
Yeah. So I love Legos, but that's why I agree with you. That's why my head initially went to a negative space, because my first thought was, your house is out of order. Your community fucking hates you. You still don't fucking get it. And yet, hey, look at this, buy this shit,
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with actually, I get it.
And because we made all those people jobless, now we have money to spend. It's like, it never occurred to them not to spend. Like, what book did you buy from WotC in 2023? What book can you think of that you bought in 2023? Exactly.
Yeah.
I went to look at my D&D Beyond digital content.
And I was buying both versions of every fucking book they released, whether I was going to use it or not.
And I was looking at all my digital content because I like to review stuff and look.
When did the whole? Now I'm curious because I can't answer that question. When did the whole D&D 1, the whole blow up happen? Was that during 2023 or was that 22?
I think it was spring of 2023, if I recall.
Okay, that's when I stopped buying books. So given that it's now spring of 2024, it's been a year since I have bought a D&D book.
Yeah, the last book I bought was because I was hoping Spelljammer was going to get a reboot that was worthy of the price.
Yeah,
that was the last time I bought content from them, was when they released Spelljammer, the re-release of Spelljammer. Realizing that all my hard copy, realizing that all my hard copy and all my Spelljammer stuff that I already have is exactly the same thing that they re-released, and I'm like, so nothing new. We're just.
I think it was a combination of being pissed off at their whole fucking attitude and also exceptionally disappointed at the Spelljammer content that I spent.
But these three things came together.
Whatever the fuck it was.
These three things created this hypocrisy morass for me. And I scoured the YouTubes and I scoured the feeds.
Yeah, Colin said Fizzbands was maybe the last one he bought, and that was a year ago.
I scoured the feeds, I scoured all the social media. No one has called WotC out on this hypocrisy, because all the influencers are now too deep into D&D's pocket. They're getting paid too well, so they're not going to challenge them anymore. And then the rest of the community is like, well, our third-party stuff is secure, because if they just keep making these bad decisions, it just means as a third-party person, I'm going to sell more third-party stuff. So why should I talk about the hypocrisy of them laying everybody off and then suddenly having $1 billion to spend? So,
Andy, I almost bought the deck of many things, but I hadn't my finger over the button, and I was like,
But the Deck of Many Things was nothing more than an exposition of their Magic the Gathering.
Oh, it was nothing new.
And
it was nothing.
Yeah, it was all the
repackaged.
same.
It was repackaged.
And
I
granted,
wonder, do you think? And I'm playing devil's advocate here, not because I disagree with you, but do you think that? So yeah, the influencers that are tied to D&D are obviously not going to speak out.
Well, stop there, because one of the things that broke my heart is somebody who I've liked to watch over time, because I like to get a feel for that generation's involvement. Ginny D is deep in D&D's pockets now.
Yeah, deep. I know.
And when you go look at her old stuff where she was very independent and she did a lot of independent creativity, like all of her new stuff now is so D&D, like WotC focused. I mean, she's in the group that plays the Lego Adventure, and they're clearly shilling both Lego and D&D in the midst of this hypocrisy, in the midst of ruining people's lives, laying off 11,000 people or 10,000 people. Boo-hoo, I didn't make $1 billion, but suddenly I have $1 billion to spend. And I'm from corporate. I know how they finagle that. I know what they do to make those funds work from year to year, and I get that. But I'm tired of it. It's not going to stop me from doing what I love with D&D.
I don't blame you. I think the more disappointing thing to your point is how the community has reacted. How that segment of the community has reacted, because this community is supposed to be about the complete antithesis of that.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that no one's talked about the hypocrisy factor. And in fact, you have all of these influencers now being kind of, the storm's died down. Why rock the boat? Let's all go back to making what money we can and ignore the message of spring of 2023 or whenever, the OGL thing kicked in. But yet
Colin's asking, is Brendan Lee Mulligan a shill?
I don't know, because I've only seen him in one feed so far in the last 4 to 6 weeks. But a couple of those D&D Beyond feeds had me concerned. I'm like, what is he doing? Why is this community embracing such an evil empire? What is it? It's like all the players are becoming the villains. Everybody's becoming the big bad, and the folks that are trying to point this out, the little small time hooligans like me who don't have any influence over the space. But I've got to talk about it because
all 5 of you who are watching us, don't say anything.
Yeah. Ooh. And this is not
the truth on this show, because we don't care. We'll call out WotC every single day.
Yeah, Dragon Painter hit it right on the.
Just don't say anything bad about Warner Brothers Studios, who owns us after the $1 billion deal went through last week.
Oh, fuck them too.
Great, there goes our $1 billion. Thanks, Chase.
Dragon Painter, it's almost like a funeral. Everyone is sad for first few days, but after it happens, a couple months go by, and it's just back to business as usual.
That's a very good point. Yeah, everybody was so up in arms with the original OSL shit and all that crap, to the point that WotC, did a fucking 180 for a little while. They didn't really do a 180. They did a tap dance 180.
Yeah.
But
I just would have liked to have seen a few more people in the influence space at least kind of address it, like use their platform, use their ability to say, you know what, 10,000 people became out of work because Hasbro created the illusion of, missing $1 billion. And what they wanted is they wanted that $1 billion to start a new project in 2024. And the only way they were going to get that money was to purge the ranks. And rather than do it in a way that allows them to keep people employed, maybe rethink that, year after year after year of project failure, maybe focus on the project failure first, tap into your resource that you have, and create a bunch of little projects that you can deliver on a weekly basis, or monthly basis. It's like nowadays, it's like at the beginning of the year, you get a little bit from them. And at the end of the year, you get a little bit from them. But it's
I was just going to say the mapping in D&D Beyond, it seemed like a glimmer of hope You know, a couple of updates. The mapping's there. It's a couple of updates, and then I don't know. I'm of the same mindset. I gotta say, I kind of feel like that too is just lip service. It's like, hey, here's a taste of this, and it's gonna be like this for a year. You know, just to shut you up, type of thing.
Well, you know, when the encounters maker still says beta. Yeah, like
well,
campaign
the
3.
speculation is, and this is just me, Brian Weiss, talking. This is not. I have no insight into the inner workings of Critical Role, just so you know. But I suspect that the impetus behind Daggerheart was to slowly divorce themselves from WotC because of all this bullshit.
Well, I think
not
I
want to
actually
be embroiled in bullshit. And you're right; they do a very good job of staying out of it, which I commend them for, because this is not the space for bullshit. This is supposed to be, you know, the gaming community. If I may get up on my soapbox now,
do.
I just like using that sound effect. You know, this space, the gaming space, is supposed to be one of, you know, that is safe and you know, divorces itself of all of that bullshit and drama. And Critical Role, I think, really does a good job of that, you know, for their own good and for our good.
What I'd like to see happen is
I think Daggerheart was their way of reading the tea leaves and saying we gotta separate from WotC.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the things is the direction of their current campaign, and the fact they've only been doing comic book publication post antithesis of Exandria. I think I'd like to see Exandria get destroyed, and then they because if you follow the story of the current campaign, there's a lot in that story that kind of leads to the idea that Rudius and Kathia, the moons, are going to be used to alter the universe, and Exandria gets destroyed in the process. And I think they're going to use that as a way to start campaign 1 of Daggerheart, and then they're going to transition into that.
It's funny because my buddy Matt, we were talking about this on Slack. I mean, it was months ago when you and I mentioned something, but they said months ago. Matt speculated months ago that this is a way to basically consolidate all the old characters together, but get rid of all the old and usher in the new. Excuse me.
Right.
Basically what he said, and I would not be surprised.
And the fact that their open beta is so detailed, and that they were willing to release everything as a single open beta release for everyone to play, tells me that they're ready to get this done. Yeah. And they probably want to get this done this year. They probably want to get this out by the fall because, you know, they want to
imagine, and again, this is no insight. I'm not giving anything away because I don't fucking know. I would imagine they'll release it this year. If they're already on playtesting, I mean, the playtest phase is basically, let's clean things up before production. So I would have to imagine that it's going to be released.
But at least they're doing it in such a way that it feels like a product, a complete product for review. This little chapter release that WotC is doing.
I told you it's lip service.
I lost my interest. I don't even download the supplements anymore. I don't even look.
I don't either.
Supplements anymore.
It's throwing bits of cake out to the masses.
Yeah, on your way to the guillotine.
Yeah.
Which,
by the way, I actually did watch Napoleon, and I was exceptionally underwhelmed.
Yeah, the reviews pretty much had it spot on that it was very underwhelming.
It wasn't a bad film. It was just entirely uninspiring. I know nothing more now about Napoleon than I knew before I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, and I would say about half the movie was inaccurate. So it wasn't even really accurate that much.
I don't know about it. I'll take your word for it. Because
it was pretty inaccurate. That whole cannonball scene where they destroy the lake and they all fall in, that never happened.
Yeah.
That never happened. He wasn't even there. He was somewhere else. So once again, don't get me wrong, Ridley Scott, right? He's got my very first film that I watched that he did when I was a kid. Well, yeah, but my very first film that I understood his story process was Band of the Hand, which was that if you ever get a chance, you should watch it. It's pretty good. It was a kind of homage to Miami Vice.
I've never seen it, but I remember it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I got his message with the sci-fi horror, but I think there comes a time that you're formulaic, and really, really big scenes and lots of explosions.
I'm only laughing at that term formulaic because that's one that I've used in my inner circle and I've never lived it down. So
yeah, well, I won't go unfortunately, it's true. That's what's so horrible about it.
Yeah,
it's so true.
But I didn't mean to derail you off of your topic. So anyway, watch Peacemaker. Don't watch Napoleon. Okay, continue.
Yeah, there you go. That gets you in the right venue and
yeah, it's funny. In regards to the WotC thing, I'll say this: when the whole bullshit when the shit hit the fan, and the stink was just wafting over the community for months, I was up in arms. Those are totally true. I was up in arms, and I kind of, had to be talked down the ledge, as it were. I mean, let's face it; it's a game. Okay, I'm not talking about it.
Right.
Daily life, but when I was in game mindset, it was really upsetting, and I had to realize. In fact, I think you said numerous times to me, you can still play D&D. It doesn't matter what they do. The game will not die, right?
Yeah.
If it goes into stasis as it is right now, we could enjoy D&D for generations.
There was a really funny April Fool's joke with Fandom. Fandom had put out a news release or an announcement on their website and said that they had finally acquired D&D from WotC.
Wow, that would be awesome.
I just started laughing. I was like, oh my God, that is so effing funny.
It is.
So funny.
But anyway, so my head, I'll just finish up real quick. So it's weird. Like right now, I kind of just don't give a shit. I really don't. They can fuck themselves to high heaven for all I care. I finally realized I can still play D&D the way I want to, and I can play it in perpetuity that way. And I'm really excited for Daggerheart and all the third party stuff. And I don't know. It was not even. It just kind of happened where I just stopped giving a fuck one day. Fuck them. I don't. They can burn the house down. D&D will not die. Somebody will resurrect it from the ashes if it ever gets to that point.
Right.
And they're going to do what they're going to do, which they've demonstrated repeatedly.
You go out and you look at the Matt Koval supplements. You go out and you look at the the Luke Gygax supplement. I mean, Luke Gygax Con has steadily grown year to year to year to year. And it was, something that I think all new generations are kind of able to go.
They finished that up, didn't they? I follow him. They just finished that up, I think. They just got back.
Yeah, and he had a couple content going. There was some interesting re-release of OSR content that's getting, a re-release of stuff. So, the idea of generational preservation is still there. There's lots of people that play it. There's lots of people that enjoy writing for it. Yeah. The one thing that, that I feel like we're missing, that was a very, very kind of hotbed of creativity for my generation, was the plethora of novels and books and paperbacks.
Oh yeah,
that were just unending. In the universe, and I know it's a competitive nature of printed text versus odd vod creativity. So I know there's there's industry competitions, there's costs. I know there's
that's a good point, though. I think that also attributes to the laziness. Yeah, I think back to when I was a kid.
You're such a fucking nerd.
No, but I do. I remember when those Dragonlance books came out.
Remember berries?
And just the excitement of immersing myself in that world, among many other books and series. But yeah, it was like I still remember. I don't remember. My memory is shit. I don't remember a lot of the fucking books I read last year, for fuck's sake. But
yeah,
with Dragonlance books, I still remember. This was pre-Rant Cam. This was PR time period before the cataclysmic breaking of the world through Rant. But yeah, I remember how amazing those books were and what it felt like to read them, and I'm not just talking about the story, but I'm talking about just being able to immerse yourself in this game that you've been playing since you were kids. Yeah. And to your point, I think, the complete lack of fiction from that space is, again, it just kind of points towards the laziness and the.
Well, it's also the licensing problem.
But it's the licensing problem. But
you could go to Cobalt Press, you could go to RPG Guild.
No, I'm not talking about third party. I'm talking about sanctioned by Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
Fucking books out, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Your point. Stop regurgitating shit that you have published for the past 20 years in a new wrapper and give us something fucking new.
Yeah.
I think that's the crux of it.
I agree.
Literally throwing deck chairs off the Titanic. It's yeah. I wish I could disagree with you, but I can't.
I just hope somebody picks up on the hypocrisy and realizes that, that,
oh my God, Greyhawk or we
were talking about Dark Sun,
Dark Sun, yeah. Spelljammer was a big fucking disappointment because, again, it was repackaging.
Yep. I know.
Exactly. FTM, as Shunjin says, follow the money. It's all about that shit.
It really is. Well, we did it again, Brian.
We did it again. It was a good conversation, though.
I needed to have it because it's been bothering me for almost 3 weeks. And I was glad I could finally kind of, just exercise it.
It's shitty. At the end of the day, it's corporate BS where, it's like bottom line and the shareholders, interests ends up in fucking over the people that are really the ones keeping the business running.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, how many people did you lay off?
How many people did who lay off?
How many people did WotC lay off? Or Hasbro?
Well, 1,100, but Hasbro laid off 10,000.
Okay, 1,100. Let's just say WotC. Let's forget about Hasbro. WotC, 1,100, right?
Yeah.
How many C-suite level people do you think they could have got rid of and saved the same money? 6?
3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the 3 people running the company?
Exactly. You know what? Fuck them. Fuck them. They can burn in hell. Yeah. And on that note,
get out my cotton.
Yeah. So we'll always be straight here. We'll always keep it real. And until somebody buys us for the right price, we will not kowtow to anybody. Once that happens, we will kowtow, but we will tell you we are kowtowing. And we will just not broach those subjects.
$1.54 and I'm good.
I'm totally joking. No,
$1.54 and I'm happy. Buy us for $1.54. I don't care. Put my face on a milk carton after that. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh my God.
Where can we find you, Brian?
You can find me at RPG & Co. at Instagram and Play RPG & Co. on the interwebs, and RPG & Co. at Linktree. Check it out. Check out the website. Got a lot of shit on there. Apparel, stickers, swag, Jason's content, my content. Check it out. Go there, buy something. If you want, I'll give you a discount code. Just go. Jason, what about you? Where can we find you?
Head on over to Linktree TTRPG Academy, Twitch TTRPG Academy, or come hang out in our Discord. There's lots of stuff going on there. Hey, Bry.
Yes.
TPK.
Tell a story.
Play a game.
And as always, be kind.
Be kind. Good night,
Thanks
everybody.
for joining us all.